$100,000, but far more importantly, 12 standings points were on the line at the Beer City Open this weekend in Grand Rapids. Wang Yun had his contract terminated by the UPA, Jeannie Bouchard and Jack Sock played hooky instead of pickleball, and we had a great middle finger from Michelle Esquivel. College teams got to see how they fared against challenger teams. We crowned a new midseason champion, and most importantly, you have a chance to win a new unreleased Pro XR Jolt paddle that I was swinging for the first time this weekend. To win, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, and follow ProXR on Instagram. Last week's winners of the square shoes are Matt Bursch on YouTube, Tina D on TikTok, and Alex Lower on Instagram. I sent you guys all messages. This week, we had Wang Yun out, Deckel Bar out, Jack Sock out, Jeannie Bouchard out, Donald Young out, Etta Tuianatoa out, Jay DeVilliers out, Jaume Martinez-Vich out, and Tyler Leung out. It seems to me like this list keeps growing every time I read it. While some of these players are injured or have excused absence, others seem to be...
Bueller.
Well, Jack Sock decided to pick up the tennis rackets, but not with any serious partner. He paired up with 59-year-old billionaire hedge fund manager Bill Ackman at an ATP event in Newport instead of playing the Beer City Open in Grand Rapids. Jeannie Bouchard participated in the same tennis tournament. Finally, Wang Yun was back in Vietnam again. From what I understand, he had some sort of surgery, but he also found some time to open up a couple of clubs and run a couple of clinics while he was there. On Saturday, it was announced by the UPA that they would be terminating Wang Yun's contract. I made a full video breaking down this exact thing, which I'll link at the end of this video. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I think Wang Yun is more valuable in Vietnam and Asia than he is in the States, and I don't mean this in any derogatory sense. With PPA extensions still at the forefront of the conversation, I think it's going to be really interesting to see what these pros, Jeannie Bouchard and Jack Sock, end up deciding to do. But in the meantime, MLP needs to nip this in the bud before it gets out of hand. As I mentioned in the last recap video, forfeiture of pay for matches not played just is not enough. Players need to be fined for unexcused absences, otherwise it's just going to continue to happen, and we're going to have more names on these recaps. Anyway, Wednesday started Challenger League, and MLP did something very, very interesting. They allowed two college teams to compete in the tournament, Florida Atlantic University and the College All-Stars. While they didn't do great, it was still interesting. They were blown out in most of their matches, but FAU's women were able to get a win over the Smash, and their men had a game point against Travis and Kaysen to go up 2-0, but they couldn't convert it and ended up losing 3-1. I like this idea a lot, but I wish they would have just fielded a team of college all-stars instead of these two teams. Premier League started on Thursday, but earlier in the week it was announced that Duper is returning to a point spread model rather than simply wins and losses, meaning that your rating can actually go down even if you win a match because you didn't win by enough. And apparently the top 5 teams really care about their Duper ratings because there were a bunch of beatdowns. The Flash lost just 6 points against the Hustlers, we lost 7 against the Flames, who were without Jeannie Bouchard and Jack, and Brooklyn lost just 8 against the Bouncers. The Hogs were without Etta Tuianatoa, and they fell to Columbus. You have to wonder if Etta's absences were another reason for her being traded away from the Ranchers, and the Ranchers, on the other side, Caitlin Christian stepped in with Tina Pisnik to sweep the Chicago Slice. I don't know about you, but I liked how matches were actually played to decision. When a team is up 3-0, there's no reason to play the 4th match. Once a baseball game has been decided, the home team doesn't take the field in the bottom of the 9th. I think we should play MLP matches to decision like this in the regular season as well, but I'm curious to know what you think. Miami beat the Bad Drops, who were without Wang Yun in a Dreambreaker. The Shock beat the SoCal Hard Eights, despite losing the men's match to Ryan Fu and Blaine Hovenier. Ryan and Blaine were like on one. I mean, just take a look at this point.
Yes, please.
This has got to be one of the best hands battle of the entire season. Finally, Orlando beat Utah in regulation. Last but not least, Anna Leigh Waters was interviewed live by ESPN from the Beer City Open. While the interview was unfortunately kind of basic, I think it was still really big for the sport. Not because it's ESPN, but because I think it marks the transition from Ben Johns being the face of pro pickleball to Anna Leigh Waters, and I think that's a change for the better. On Friday, we had the Challenger final, which was actually electric. After a bit of chirping, Las Vegas won the first mixed match, and Michelle Esquivel gave Pablo the bird. Now, This definitely isn't the first time we've seen the bird in pro pickleball. Famously, we've had Tyson flipping off Leung after a singles match, Pablo flipping off Tyson's fan section, Fed flipping off the cameraman, and Christian giving it to his teammate Eric on scenes. But what I like about Michelle's take on the classic one finger salute is how nonchalant yet simultaneously matter of fact it is. Michelle is simply standing on business. She delivered the bird confidently, made sure that the bird was received, then briskly walks away before Pablo even has a chance to process what's happening. Overall, I'm going to give this a B plus bird. Las Vegas ended up winning in a Dreambreaker with Pablo going 4 for 4 in singles points and letting Michelle know about it each time down in the end of the stretch. Brooke Buckner came in to finish to give the Night Owls the win in an electric challenger final. In Premier, we only had 2 quarterfinal matches on Friday, which didn't make sense to me or Nico the lefty. Despite dropping men's, the Flash beat the Squeeze 3-1, and Columbus beat Brooklyn in the most competitive sweep I've ever seen. Paris and Leia pulled a mini upset over Jackie and Rachel 12-10. CJ and Andre saved multiple match points to beat Riley and AJ 14-12, and then Paris and Andre took care of business 11-1. Saturday featured 2 quarterfinal matches and both semifinal matches. St. Louis swept the Ranchers, and we took out Miami in regulation. I was really impressed with Yuta once again, as he and Noe scored Miami's only points against us. In the afternoon, Dallas beat Columbus after losing the women's match, and I would have expected the Flash women to win this one, but I also would have expected Columbus to win that men's match. JW and Augie took down CJ and Andre, and then the Flash swept the mixed matchups. In the last match of the night, we faced off against our rival, the St. Louis Shock. If you're not subscribed to the channel, you need to subscribe so that you can understand some of the backstory to these matches and some of these rivalries. As I covered in my Orlando recap, the last time we faced off against the Shock was in Orlando, where we had the whole ordeal of Hayden calling Anna Leigh Waters a bitch, followed by Anna Leigh confronting him in the St. Louis bench area, and the security dude getting involved. But as of right now, the Shock versus Fives is probably the biggest rivalry in MLP, with the possible exception of Colin Johns versus Netcords. In women's, we played Mari in place of Megan, and the ladies had a match point but couldn't convert, and we ended up dropping that one 12-10. Willie and I started out slowly but clawed back and fell 11-7. Willie and AL took out Gabe and Kate in the first mixed, but Mari and I couldn't quite get it done against Hayden and Anna. We lost 11-8. We weren't able to defend last year's MLP midseason title, and it was a good match with plenty of shit talk and some solid celebrations from Hayden and Anna Leigh, but nothing as controversial as last time around. Oh well, there's always next time. Before the Shock and the Flash faced off for gold, we had backdraw matches. We took out Brooklyn 3-1, and the Ranchers swept Columbus, which I really did not expect. I thought that the Ranchers were actually pretty sizable underdogs in that one. I would have thought that Columbus was actually going to win that matchup about 75% of the time, and I definitely did not think that the Ranchers would sweep them, but that's MLP for you, baby. We played the Ranchers in the bronze medal match, and we were able to get a 3-1 win, securing 2 extra standing points for our team. In the final, the Flash women rolled the Shock 11-3. Kate Fahey didn't seem quite as dialed in as she had previously, and the Flash definitely exploited that. Anna started overplaying a bit, and the Flash rolled, but the Shock answered back with an 11-4 win in men's doubles. Hayden and Anna then fell to J-Dub and Georgia 11-5, and Tyra and Augie clutched up with a 12-10 win to seal the win. J-Dub and Georgia just take care of business, and Tyra and Augie play clutch when it counts. That's a pretty winning formula. And the Flash were the best team this weekend, earning $50,000 as a team and 6 extra standings points, all but guaranteeing their place as the #1 seed in the playoffs. So anyway, subscribe and comment to stay up to date with Pro Pickleball and win my unreleased Jolt Pro XR paddle. And if you somehow missed the Wang Yun contract termination video, I'll link it down below. But subscribe so you don't miss that stuff.